Running a company is like raising children.
We need to grow the business.
With my perspective,
Yeah.
the tech guy, that's pretty easy.
Challenges, break it down to make it easy to understand, easier to solve it step by step.
When I moved together with my wife in Germany, I had this company called Digital Mate, and nobody really cared about Digital Mate. And I said, how we can deliver the message?
Everything starts when the team as a whole, you tell them exactly what you think, and of course followed by what you will do or what you speak about, and then you do what you speak about.
Actually, I'm interviewing CFO group from all over the world. Here are a lot of experience from people who did CFO jobs at different companies, what their challenges were.
It's about relationship. It's about regular people. Even in politics and business, there are people like you and I, right? Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Das ist Valerian mit Alex und Karsten. Gentlemen,
Thanks for having us.
thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Long time no see. So welcome to Georgia. And tell me what was your expectation and what you got as an outcome. So to compare.
Well, we met before in Berlin.
Yep.
So first thing you told us was about Georgian cuisine or food. So that's what we expected.
Yeah.
And that's what we tried also on the first evening. Kinkali, kachapuri. So all the dishes. And yeah, to see a, let's say, growing, beautiful, but also historic city. But at the same time, also, of course, visiting you guys, an emerging business in the IT space. So that's, I think, a beautiful combination.
It definitely is. Yeah.
I was excited actually coming to Georgia. It's my first time as well. And hello to my Georgian friend in Berlin. I learned a little bit about Georgian culture from my friend in Berlin already. So I was really excited to see it on site, right in Tbilisi.
Okay. Was it similar to what you were expecting?
It's hard to describe what I expected, but everyone who visited Georgia and who I know and visited Georgia was always like, you have to go to Georgia. so the expectation was quite high, and I would say it delivered. So I'm really enjoying the time here. As I mentioned, the city, we didn't see much yet of Georgia, so we saw Tbilisi, but no other area. The food and also the people.
My experience was very meeting nice people, helpful people. So overall, was a great experience. I think it's a bit more friendly than in Berlin.
Maybe just a bit.
The bar's pretty low.
So it's helping hands all over. And, I was surprised about, not surprised, but what I liked is there's Betis in Berlin, there's Betis in supermarkets, small ones in the city here, in every corner. I saw.
In Georgia, all of the supermarkets are Betis, so they work 24/7. I mean, probably 90% of the markets they work 24/7, and here like. You don't plan for a Sunday, like everything works. So just in case, you don't need to plan ahead.
On national holidays, are supermarkets closed? Or are they all still open? Because Sunday is like technically the national holiday of the week in Germany.
No, that's gonna blow your mind as a German.
So I'm
literally 365 days a year, everything is open. All supermarkets. What happens in Georgia and probably in all region, starting New Year on like 31st December till 14th of January, mostly people celebrate 2 weeks because we have Christmas on 7th of January. So you celebrate on 25th, right? Sometimes we also celebrate it on 25th, but we celebrate first New Year.
25th is like America or UK, maybe.
Yeah.
But we do typically the 24th.
Yeah. What do you think is strange in German traditions, like in celebrations? Okay, tell me that.
What's at least business-wise very complicated is we have national holidays, which are very few. Or not very few, but which are fewer. And then we have every region of Germany has different additional holidays. And they sometimes match up, but sometimes don't. And Bavaria has the most. And Berlin has the least. It's quite challenging actually. So you usually have to know if you're working in a company where all over the place in Germany you have colleagues, you really have to add all these calendars to your Outlook, basically, to understand, okay, next week there is a Wednesday off in Bavaria, a Thursday off in Baden-Württemberg, I don't know. So probably all they will choose individual vacation days to complete the week. And you have to think about this in advance. This is where, someone could think about a better generalized solution. So.
I never really got used to that.
That's weird.
It happens always that I send an email expecting a quick answer and wondering why there's no answer. Because the guys in Bavaria have a day off on 15th of August, I think.
Okay, so our audience is asking. So guys, you are working for very interesting industry, for the company which is older than I am. And working with legacy code or with, sometimes I think it's like the most ancient infrastructure and code which you can find. You, being German, working in IT, decided to move forward with a Georgian IT company. So can you just tell me a little bit about what you do in the company and how you ended up here, like in a free flow, whatever you think you can share.
Okay, so we work in the space of finance.
Yeah.
And with that, as you described perfectly, you could also describe it a little more beautiful. So we have a very stable product, which is serving our clients since generations. And that's also, of course, within the finance or banking space.
Yeah.
Business is moving forward, and also the industry is changing and evolving. But compared to other industries, of course, there is not this change culture. Maybe it's also a good thing that banks don't want to reinvent their business model every 24 hours.
I agree.
So that's stability all over the place. And for us, it's simply important to grow the business.
Yeah.
But to grow the business also in an economic fashion. And that's why we are also trying out options like you guys and contracting in Georgian-based IT services company.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. Karsten?
Yeah, not much to add. From my previous jobs, I'm very used to work with companies abroad, actually, and which I always enjoy because it gives some fresh input to our own business, gives exchange about technology, about the processes, stuff like this. So it brings us next step forward, right? Step by step. So that's why I'm happy to be here and meet you guys.
Well, I can't explain how much happy I am that you took this long flight to come to Georgia. Well, okay, it's not super long, but still, it's longer than you can reach any city in Germany. So
it was a good opportunity for us to combine a few days of vacation for us to learn a bit about the culture and the people and the country, of course, and meeting you business-wise as well.
Yeah, I think it kind of changed our relationship in a more positive way, right? So when you meet people in their own environment that were brought up, so you get to see and understand them better. So that was the whole idea of inviting our friends and partners to business culture trip to see how we are brought up, what are the values, traditions, people who surround us, like how we behave. So that's it. I want to ask you about like the industry you're working. So the finance industry in Germany. So what do you think? What is the future of the finance in Germany and how it can improve? Like, what are the challenges the industry is facing, especially in German market?
It's always hard to predict the future.
Okay.
So that's at first. Of course, you have some general trends. So one is one topic of discussion at the moment is embedded finance.
Yeah.
So that means, as the name suggests, embedding financial services transparently into a service company. For example, I instead of directly paying for a boat ride, as we did earlier today, I could acquire a loan for example,
Yeah.
for the amount of the loan of the boat ride. And while doing that, of course, has to be some handling of the loan, some interest rates to be calculated, and technically, also regulatory point of view, there has to be a bank in the background. And at least that's the hot topic of discussion at the moment. But if you look at the landscape of banking in Germany, it's also, as I would say, every industry pretty diverse. So you have these like very conservative private banks, if you will.
Yeah.
Family offices who also have a bank license that exists as well. Then on the other end of the scale, you have Deutsche Bank, which is familiar, which is a familiar brand all over the world.
That's true.
And probably have everything else in between. And that combined, and also neobanks like N26, maybe it's also known, is like the fully digital startup bank. And so you have a pretty diverse landscape, but everything is tied together, obviously, by the regulatory instances of Germany and the European Union. So they have all to comply to the same standards. And that's for businesses who want to get into the embedded finance space, at least our understanding is that it's quite challenging for them to meet every regulatory requirement. At the same time, be as digital and as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you're standing in the rain at the curb of the street, you don't want to, upload your ID, sign 10 documents to apply for a loan for, 10 euros, for example. So that has to be fully digitized and embedded in a way that it feels like the natural user experience of the application of the services you're using. And at least that's my understanding or my perspective on the German.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree to that. And to add also that what you mentioned, Alex, is the regulatory and compliance, like the European Union regulations for finance and banking. It seems like to be being more and more every year to be compliant in financial services. It's harder today than it was 10 years ago, and it will be even harder to be compliant in the future. And also what you mentioned, automation, right? Automation, it's technical wise, it's easily done. Challenging is to do automation in a compliant way, right? This is where we will see some progress in the future, probably. Newer startup companies, neobanks, etc. They are quite sophisticated in their processes already. But looking at older companies, they're very slowly. They have a lot of manual work still in their processes. There's a lot of potential also for software companies, for example.
Okay.
But I just recall, speaking about compliance, I think Georgia, as I remember our conversation, is complying to a lot of regulations from the European Union.
That's right.
Maybe, because I don't remember everything, and of course you're not using the euro, obviously, and you're not part of the European Union, but maybe you can share a little bit about this strong connection to European law or compliance or regulations.
That's a quite interesting topic, and thanks for asking me about that. So I think that where we are right now, like we are not a part of European Union yet, but we are on our way. And I do believe that with the mindset, with the way we live, we are Europeans, and that's what we choose. Also, we've been in the middle of Asia and Europe all the time. So we have, let's say, cherry-picked the best of the both worlds. And the way we do business is an ethical business, and the way we live, it's a Western world lifestyle. So we also try to get everything from Western world, the standards, even the constitution is a lot of stuff is based on German one, and also like the tax regimes, we cherry-picked some from Estonia, some from other European countries, and adapted to ourselves. So whatever we see is happening good. The same with GDPR. We believe that the data should be secured and should be open, right? So we have full compliance with GDPR, the same rules, same laws as you have in Europe. And we, as an IT outsourcing company, it was our first task when we launched to hire a German law firm to create a full compliant document that every our client in Germany and whole Europe is, safe. And when they get audited, nobody gonna say that you missed this and now you're fine, right? So taking care of the client and taking care of data and the talent, we learned that that's the right way of doing it. It's not about money, it's about building the trust. And to build the trust, you need to comply. That's it. So it's very easy and very straightforward. And I think people in the region, not only Georgians, but also we have really good influence, I think, on the whole region, into the Caucasus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, to Central Asia. They say, oh, these guys are, getting more traction, more foreigners are coming, they're doing something right. So somehow they're now adapting to this. So I think we're on the right way. And with people like you coming to Georgia, building bridges and trusting us, and we, also keeping the promises, that's how it's done. It's people saying that it's all politics, it's all, different stuff. It's about relationship. It's about regular people. Even in politics and business, there are people like you and I, right? So it starts like a friendship. You go out for a beer, maybe, or a coffee, and we end up with wine. So, but that's it. I think that's about keeping up the European mindset here. Maybe you can also give us a feedback what you see about Georgia, like how.
If you look at different geographies, when it comes to IT outsourcing, of course you could describe it as, or you just described it as European mindset, but of course compliance, being compliant to our regulations or to similar regulations is very helpful when contracting compared to other geographies which are even more deeper into Asia and maybe even more economic. But having the, let's say, security or the confidence that in case of an audit, and we also submit to a regular compliance audit, obviously, that there won't be any finding because our partners live up to the same standards. So that's really helpful, I would say, for Georgia, but of course also for us as clients.
Compliance-wise, not much to add. It's a big topic, of course.
So, gentlemen, I want to ask you your professional opinion on how you manage your team and how you build the trust, because you recently joined a company which is older than I am. So building trust in an environment where you're new, it comes with a lot of challenges, right? And I think that in order to be a good manager, you first need to build trust. And that's what a lot of people are struggling in a lot of companies. And as long as I see, you're doing it pretty well. So I would love to, obviously your company trusted to work with us, right? So it's a big step, and it comes from trust in you and your choice, first of all. So maybe you can share your knowledge, your experience with our listeners and people who are building the company or our managers, how to build trust within a team.
Or maybe, shall I start? So trust is very important, in not only business-wise, but generally in life, I think. And business-wise, trust for me starts always with a high amount of transparency and openness as well. Not hiding information, not making fake news in the companies, but being very transparent with the information and things we do, explaining what we do, not just doing something and deciding something, but involving also people in the decision-making process. It's about valuing employees' work as well, colleagues' work as well, being and as close contact as possible. Of course, it's not always possible to have close contact, but we try. I try to be in close contact, have an open ear for the colleagues, maybe give advice if I'm asked for. If not, then I hope not to give too much advice.
Okay.
That's part of trust building, and also giving responsibility and encouraging of trying out something new, not just waiting for us to say something. Hey, let's do it like this or let's do it like that. But encouraging employees to don't be shy to try out, to go next step, and then supporting on the next step as well.
Okay, that sounds cool. Thank you.
You mentioned a lot. I fully agree to everything said. Maybe as a step before this, you need courage to be very open about everything that's going on. I think everything starts when the team, not like employees or management or whatever, but the team as a whole, has the understanding that there's no hidden agenda.
Yeah.
So you tell them exactly what you think.
Yeah.
Then, of course, followed by what you will do or what you speak about.
Yeah.
And then you do what you speak about.
Mm-hmm.
Or you express when something doesn't go as planned.
Yeah.
Because this will happen as well.
A lot.
And of course, also give context to everyone. Like, for example, in a structured way, that's of course your profession. The financial situation of the company, and of course what is our strategy or what are our priorities with the business, and I always think of what could be a conversation at the water cooler, without me being present, and I want to address this up front. So if we do any structural changes, any procedural changes, if we onboard, for example, a new partner, and contract the Georgian-based IT company, service company, of course we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Why we do it, how we do it, what we want to benefit from, and what our perception or what our idea is about this strategy or part of our strategy. And of course, I mean, I'm not the only person. He's a very well-known, famous author, but I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek and his Golden Circle, obviously.
Yeah.
So it all starts, as we know, with why.
Yeah.
Why do we do what we do? Then it followed by how.
Yeah.
And then the what. And combined with everything you said, I think it's a powerful way to express yourself and to show also yourself. Like, I am who I am. I cannot be like you or like Karsten. I'm, an individual. And again, no hidden agenda. So that's also important. But also what you have to, as I would say, my leadership principle also, not everything I do will be liked by everyone. And that's also something you have to accept.
True.
The only thing I can do is to express why I do it, how I do it, and what I do.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, you can't make everyone happy, and as Steve Jobs said, if you want to make everyone happy, go sell ice cream, right? I mean, we can eat ice cream, but let's focus on rough reality that you need to grow, you need to optimize, and you need to reach certain numbers and keep it, because it's the game that we play. It's called business.
It's called capitalism as well.
Yeah, but there's certain rules, because you need a proper team, you need a proper plan, and you need an execution. And if you don't have this, you're lucky, and somehow you won't be competitive, right? And most probably you won't be able to pay out salaries at some point.
Also, to be very blunt, if we are, as the leader of the business, not successful with the business, why should our employees trust us?
That's also true.
It's plain simple.
So I think that in running every team, there are different challenges, like running a tech team or a business team. What kind of challenges you face mostly, and how do you solve them? Like, how do you approach the problem solving in your team? Like, how does it work?
How much time you?
we,
It's a very open question. Yeah.
I think the problem is that mostly people they get stressed when they have challenges and they don't know how to cope with it, right? So they need a guidance, right? And there's different approaches for a tech team and the different for business and design and marketing, but the idea is always the same, right? How you approach to the problem, and this just
Maybe what jumps into my mind is like addressing challenges by cutting them into slices, trying to break it down to make it easy to understand, easier to solve it step by step, for example, or approach it step by step. So not trying to start with a big bang and not knowing what's happening afterwards, but trying to, maybe because I'm more into finance, everything needs to be more plannable as well. And it's easier to plan if it's smaller than just a big bang.
Yeah, I agree.
And it helps also to get the buy-in from everyone from the team. If the big picture can be solved at once or can be understood at once, solving smaller steps, it's easier to understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, guess so.
I would like to add that I like data.
Yeah.
And thinking about an IT services company based in Georgia, maybe you have as a mission or as your why that you want to become the world's best known IT services company based in Georgia. Probably. I don't know. You don't have to share. But maybe that's your idea. But that's like your vision.
Yeah.
And that's what you can express. And hopefully, bring emotions into your team to be part of this journey. But next to that, very close to that, there comes numbers.
Yeah.
What does it exactly mean? Who is your biggest competitor?
Yeah.
How much do you have to grow? What are potential client groups? What are your geographies you can address?
Yeah.
Language skills, tech skills, whatever. And then you have a net set of numbers that you want to achieve. And I switched a lot of jobs, which helped me to gain a lot of experience in different roles and different industries. And I would say I have a good set of methodologies in my space. I'm not a finance guy, I'm a tech guy. So in my space, I would say I'm familiar with what to do. So, and then of course you have to apply your experience, like school smart and street smartness, to hit the numbers.
Okay.
And I think the underlying framework is be very open and transparent in communication. Again, why, how, what, in that sequence.
We should talk Simon Sinek on this podcast.
Probably.
We all read your books. We love it. Actually, his book Start With Why was one of my first sales books.
Yeah.
I was doing a training of sales. It was called Art of Sales. When I was young and I still had hair. And looking back now, it still works the same way as it was working. This mindset of Simon. I'm still following him. It's like we appreciate what you do. So speaking of guys, what are the coolest books that or podcasts or some knowledge bases you could recommend to other entrepreneurs or industry experts who are in the similar roles? Like what comes first in your mind that was kind of a game changer and I learned a lot from that?
Yeah, that's within my perspective.
Yeah.
The tech guy, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Accelerate.
Accelerate.
Accelerate is the book where the whole DevOps, someone will directly scream when I will narrow it down to DevOps.
Okay.
But the whole idea of delivering fast and delivering efficient with high quality and especially what KPIs to measure. It's the holy grail. It's where some of the KPIs which are today reflected in the DORA framework were initially created, and the most important part, and that's also the main part of the book, which is that sometimes not boring, but sometimes repetitive. They base it on scientific studies. So it's not a good feeling. It's not an industry expert.
Yeah.
It's hard data, which backs the whole those necessary KPIs
Okay.
to improve the speed and the velocity of the team, and that's one I appreciate a lot.
Okay.
Second book, little off topic if you want.
Sure, of course. Go ahead.
But that's not tech focused. But I'm right now reading Invisible Women.
Okay.
It's a book about data science.
You couldn't tell by the name.
Yeah, but it's kind of impressive because we are living in a world.
Yeah.
For example, crash test analysis is one popular example.
Yeah.
Until, I don't know, 10, I don't remember the exact data, but 10 or 15 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago,
Yeah.
there have been crash test dummies with the female body physique. So they were all focused about the typical average male person, and so you could go on with tons of other industries. Similar goes to testing airplanes, for example, and seats and so on. So it's kind of interesting. It was recommended to me, and it's a new perspective on the world we experience every day.
Okay. Invisible Woman.
Yeah, Invisible Woman. Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a note. That's for sure.
But it's not tech. For
Yeah. Well.
but these a little bit. But it's,
Well, sometimes you need to read the not boring books.
I had to look it up actually. The podcast. It's CFO Tough Leader. I'm listening occasionally to. It's an American guy interviewing CFO from all over the world. The focus on United States. And this is where I hear a lot of experience from people who did CFO jobs at different companies, what their challenges were, and how they solved them. So that helps me to learn from experienced leaders how I could maybe implement a few things in my daily doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
like-
heard about that.
Yeah, it's very specific on
Yeah,
CFO
like
topics.
yeah.
So
I think
sounds like it.
I don't know if the name come out. It's just the hint. I gave it off a little bit here.
I think our CFO will find it useful. So you can share the link.
Then the finance people, yes,
Yeah.
CFO.
But how about you? Any recommendations?
I try to find different books about the markets I'm working with. So currently listening to audiobook by I don't remember the name, but it's Karsten. There's this famous entrepreneur in the US, like with a very American mindset. Like it's sale. It's like it's called 10x rule, and it's like super motivational. I just try to understand how people think this market, but. I'll get back to one topic there. We were discussing one while we were having coffee in the kitchen. So running a company is like raising children in a good way. And when we were expecting our daughter Mia years ago, I started to read books about how to raise children and about psychology, all the stuff. And I realized that you can easily apply it to work. Actually, it works better in work than at her home. And one specific book was really interesting. It's written by Faber. It's called How to Talk to Children So They Listen and How to Listen So They Talk. And it's quite simple, but while reading it, you also realize how you were brought up by your parents, like a very strict way, and what kind of influence they had on you, and how you can change and be more open by teaching your employees or children and learning yourself. And it was mind-blowing because I learned from that book about children way more in management than I've learned in any other book, like also top CEOs and all the stuff, because it was very easy and straightforward. Don't do this, do this. And it made sense. So I think it's funny, but sometimes you realize that you are looking for answers in the wrong places. Yesterday we were interviewing one of our clients. It's a cybersecurity company, and the owner was telling how they do the checks, like how they do tests phishing tests of the companies. So, and the way they approach the client, it's so ideal, so unique. We can easily apply it into the sales. Like, they are doing great research, checking all the content on the profile. They exactly know how they would react. And he said, brilliant thing. They sent out 400 emails, and out of 400, 45 converted. That's ideal. Cold outreach email. So in sales, you are good if you have 2%.
Right.
So I was like, man, it's mind blowing.
Interesting. It reminds me on regular conversations we have when we talk about there's something there's maybe something we need to explain to the company, to the employees, to the colleagues, and always reminds me, hey, Karsten, we need to think about how do I explain it to my kids? Yeah, so to make it,
As easily understandable as possible.
easily understandable. Exactly.
It's this famous German authors. I always mix them up, Schiller and Goethe.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of the both. They were writing each other letters.
Yeah.
And there's one super popular situation where the one was writing to the other letter.
Yeah.
Long story short, he wrote a 3-page letter, and he ended the letter with the phrase, "I'm sorry, the letter is so long, but I didn't have the time to cut it down, to shorten it."
Oh, wow.
And that's what I learned from my journey.
Yeah.
Really be focused and think about how can you dump it down, but not because I'm condescending or speaking down to my employees, but simply like how to create the complex strategy, whatever you have in mind. How can you explain it the simplest possible way, what you want to achieve. No corporate speak, no yada yada. As direct and as also language wise as simple as possible, because that sticks. That's what people understand. We need to grow the business by 10, 20, 30, 5%. Whatever. Our competitors do la 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 la. As simple as possible the messaging.
I'm into that, man. You should tell it to our SEO guy. While working on the website, he puts like shit tons of text, and he's like, SEO needs it, but nobody wants to read that. So like we're always having a fight, like to narrow it down like to one sentence, and he's like, when we're out here, it's just more sentences. So that's how it happens.
Sounds familiar to me as well. Yeah. These discussions with marketing.
That's funny, but that's how it works, right? Okay, guys, last question. What would be your recommendation to Georgian company? How we can do better for specifically German market to build better trust, to perform better, and build more bridges. Like your German opinion would be really important.
Right now we exactly know one Georgian company. And I think it follows along the lines of what we discussed in our chat right now. So you are very close to European law, to European regulation. I appreciate what I see so far, your work attitude. So and also the effort you bring to the workplace. What I can see is that the level of education is quite high. So I didn't make of course I researched Georgia, but I think the average, if you think in those statistics, there's a high level of academic educational level.
That's right.
You have, of course, specializations like computer science, like business, like law, and so on. So that's a very good basis to, I would say, translate to, let's say, European countries. What's, of course, for us appreciated, which helps to steer through this organizational change, bringing someone external on board, that a lot of Georgians, I understood, speak also German. The ones we have spoken to can speak German because it was part of our requirement. But there was still a lot, not choice, but there was still a couple of candidates available with this pretty high expectation in German, because we said like you wanted to have B1, B2, which is
when it comes to the grammar, I wouldn't be sure if every German could immediately pass the test for B2. So maybe not. So that is like a real good conversational standard, and is also in the business world. And we could have a couple of interviews with potential candidates, which you provided very quickly as well. So that's good, especially if you want, like us, to have a solution for your problem in a quick time frame. That was very good and very professional. We have to start out now, as we discussed earlier, and see where the journey takes us. That's what I could share.
It was my heart, man. Thank you very much.
Hard to add anything. So, yeah, I think personally, speaking about your company, the full experience is close to 100% at the moment. So I know everyone can better every day, but it feels right, as I can say. That's why we are here today. Otherwise, we would, if it wouldn't feel good, we weren't here. Hopefully, so,
Yeah, it's a good sign.
so that's what I can say. Yeah.
And also, you were also recommended to us. So
Yeah,
that helps also, I would
you
say.
yeah, I think that in business, and especially in Germany, everything works through vitamin B. So
Recommendations.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the most desirable way of growth. But it takes time. In general, I want to thank you, like, with all my heart, for taking the time to come here, and I also want to say a separate thank to Germany, really, because it's my, I can say, easily say, my second homeland, like Berlin, and whatever I know today and what I achieved together with my team, that's because of Germany. Because when I moved together with my wife in Germany, we had this company called Digital Mate, and then nobody really cared about Digital Mate, and I said, how we can deliver the message, and I saw a totally different mindset from American or Georgian or any other markets. The least public companies are in Germany. They're mostly privately held. They have family names. And I said, that's something very right thing to do. And I renamed it by the family name because we wanted to build something meaningful for long term. And there's great companies like Bosch, Siemens, Mercedes, a lot of them. And I said, let's start building something for generations. And when you're starting building something for generations, it takes time. So if you're not in a hurry, you're gonna enjoy the ride. And I'm super thankful for everyone who trusted us, and thank you for trusting us. And I hope this journey will last for another 30 to 40 years. And when we meet, none of us will have hair at this time.
Okay. Thanks for the reminder.
And we're gonna have a pint of the beer or Georgian wine with Rinkali. We're gonna say it was a good journey and was worth it. Thank you for
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Moldova.
Vielen Dank. So, the audience, thank you for watching us. It was Valerian, Alex, and Karsten. It was Entrepreneurship Diary. Have a nice one.